Hey there friends, welcome back to my office. Today I'll be sharing my interpretation of the transitional blush technique developed by PaintedbyEsther. I start off by placing this mauve cream blush on the back of my hand and applying it layer by layer with a brush. So you can see my phone is starting to fall. It's one of those magnetic stick-on suction cups that goes onto the mirror. Do not recommend. Blending the color all the way up into my temples. Quick Diet Coke break. The next step will be concealer. I'm using my current favorite concealer. It's called Neutral Swan by Catrice. I'm applying this to the inner corners of my eyes and nose, as well as some areas that I'd like to add a bit of lift and brightening. I'll allow it to settle a bit on my face and get tacky before I start blending. Shout out to the 2016 eyebrow techniques that have never left me. Blending, blending, blending. I changed my mind and decided to go in with a sponge for blending. Just cleaning up the edges of this blush, fixing my hair up a bit. And then I go back in with the sponge lightly around the perimeter of my face before blending in that inner area with my concealer brush. See, y'all fell again. This is one of the most visually satisfying parts of the technique, one of the parts that I enjoy the most. Sometimes it shocks me how striking a bright under eye can be. Going back in now with whatever was left on the brush, and now for the fun step. It's a shimmery powder blush. I'm applying this to the highest points of my cheekbones, all the way up into my brow, almost into the crease, and then down as far as the apple of my cheek. I think this is a really fun way to add dimension and color to your blush look. Now to set everything down and blend it together, I'm using a loose powder. Applying this to my T-zone, under the eyes, all of the usual places where I get oily on my face. But I'm also going to be using this around the edges of where I've applied blush. What this does is set the powder blush as well as soften that perimeter that I've created, almost like a watercolor effect. Second Diet Coke break, of course. We're almost done. I'm going to melt everything together with a setting spray, allow it to dry, and here's the final look.